With the addition of the Mirage Heirloom, there are now 6 Heirlooms in Apex Legends. So in this video, I'm using a ranking system to rank every single Heirloom in this game. I think that even though some of the Heirlooms might be better than others, I think that the Heirlooms in this game have had so much time and effort put into them that you should get the Heirloom for the legends that you play the most. If you don't agree with my ranking, or if you'd rank the Heirlooms differently, while you're watching this video, it'd be really cool if you put a tier list in the comments below. You know, it's really easy to say that this Heirloom should be higher, and it really sucks to have to rank an Heirloom at the bottom, but you know, some Heirloom has to go at the bottom, so I highly encourage you to make your own tier list. I'm really excited to see what you guys say, and I'll make sure to read all of the tier lists. So let's get into ranking all of the Heirlooms in Apex Legends from worst to best. I'm Alarmix, and let's get into the video. So we're gonna start off at the bottom of the list. Obviously, it really stinks to have to put an Heirloom at the bottom, but unfortunately, one of the 6 has to go at the bottom. I insist that there is no bad Heirloom in Apex Legends. There is just one that is less than the others. So this one, based off my ranking system, and I'll introduce you to the ranking system, at number 6, we have Pathfinder. So I ranked the Heirlooms based off 3 different categories. I'm just gonna introduce you to the categories as we go with ranking Pathfinder's Heirloom here. So the first category is fitting. How well does this object fit that legend, and does it make sense that it's in the game? The writers at Respawn have said that Wraith's kunai, it really makes sense that her Heirloom is the kunai, but they've also said that Pathfinder, it's super random that the boxing gloves are Pathfinder's Heirloom. So the fitting category is going to be worth the least out of all of the different categories. This is going to be worth only a total of 3 points. So Pathfinder's Heirloom, it gets a 0 out of 3 here. It doesn't totally make sense why Pathfinder's Heirloom is the boxing gloves. I feel like the devs just really wanted Pathfinder to have an Heirloom, and rightfully so. I guess a boxing robot makes a little bit of sense, and it seems like Pathfinder has a lot of fun. It almost seems like the Apex games are more of a game for him. So in that way, it kind of makes a little tiny bit of sense that he has boxing gloves. But overall, he gets definitely 0 points in this category. Out of all of the legends and their Heirlooms in Apex Legends, Pathfinder's boxing gloves make about the least sense for that legend. The next category that we're going to be ranking the Heirlooms in is the animations. This one is going to be worth 5 points. Pathfinder's Heirloom animations are actually pretty cool. The inspect animation has the gloves with the little screens on them kind of turn colors. When you inspect and the Heirloom actually changes, like the looks on it change, I'm ranking this kind of half in the animations category and kind of half in the looks category. You can actually not inspect Pathfinder's gloves while you're running. Most Heirlooms have some sort of special inspect animation while you're running, and Pathfinder has 0 of that. But I mean, that's the only reason that Pathfinder's animations aren't 5 out of 5. There's like rare animations with Pathfinder's gloves, like sometimes the gloves kind of kick out, like the robo arms kind of extend to hit. There's also the animation where the bird comes down and Pathfinder hits it. And now we move on to the third and final category that we're going to be ranking with. This is the looks category. This is going to be the most important category. It's going to be worth 10 points. So this is where ranking the Heirlooms comes down to a personal opinion sometimes. Do you like the looks on Pathfinder's gloves or do you not? I really do not care for the looks on Pathfinder's gloves, in my opinion. I think it kind of looks like Pathfinder brought toy gloves to the Apex games. So Pathfinder in the looks category, I'm going to give him 5 out of 10 points. Like, I mean, it's not completely horrible. The looks on the gloves, there aren't really any horrible looking Heirlooms in my opinion. But as far as looks go, I think Pathfinders are just about the worst. And I think when it comes down to Heirlooms, the looks is by far the most important category. So this is why I unfortunately have to place Pathfinder's Heirloom at the last slot. And quickly before we get on to the next Heirloom, I guess just for a little bit of a reference, there are 18 possible points if all of the categories are maxed out. And Pathfinder has a total of 9 out of 18 points, but I still do not believe Pathfinder's Heirloom is a bad Heirloom. I still think it's pretty cool, like when you run, it kind of jolts side to side, but at the same time, you know, unfortunately, he's last. People, now in the rankings, we're going to move on to the 5th best Heirloom. Here on the list, we have Bloodhound's Raven's Bite. So in the first category, we have a 3 out of 3 in fitting. We literally saw Bloodhound's Heirloom in action in the Old Ways trailer. How it worked is Arthur was saving this axe for the first Blood Hunter. It's so cool that when you're using this in game, that, you know, there's more meaning behind it, that Arthur actually gave this to Bloodhound when Bloodhound was in training. So in the animation department for Bloodhound, there's actually only a 3 out of 5 here. I'm gonna start off with the pros on the animations. So the first equip animation, it is unique, it's pretty cool. The running attack animations, they're unique, those are also cool. The inspect animation, I mean, it's pretty decent, you know, I mean, it's not bad. But then there's, I mean, 2 things that really draw this animation department way down. When you're not sprinting, there's only one kind of attack animation, which is, I mean, it's kind of boring. Like, couldn't they have put, you know, at least maybe 2 in there? When you're sprinting and you click inspect, for most heirlooms, there's a pretty cool animation here with bloodhounds. Bloodhound actually twirls the heirloom. I think it's pretty cool, but it actually goes out of frame, so you can't really even see the heirloom being twirled. There's an heirloom in this game that the animations are just so good, and Bloodhound's animations quite honestly do not just stack up to that. So let's move on to the final category, onto the category of looks. I do really like the low-key look on the handle, you know, the metalish look, and then the kind of blood on the blade. But I think just compared to some other heirlooms, it doesn't quite stack up. There are some people with completely different tastes. I've asked around. Some people really just love this look on the Bloodhound heirloom and they think it's the best, and some people, they don't really like it. But I think overall I would certainly be honored, quite like decently obviously, to have Bloodhound's heirloom. Bloodhound's heirloom is a decent step up over Pathfinder's heirloom. Bloodhound's heirloom is going to get a total of 13 out of 18 possible points. But I think when we get to this point at the list, already at the 5th best, the heirlooms are just so close. So my homies, moving on to the 4th best heirloom, it was actually very difficult to rank this spot. I spent quite a bit of time thinking about this one. So without further ado, at number 4 we have Mirage. As you know, Mirage's statue is the newest heirloom to Apex, and it is really no joke. In the fitting category, we have a 3 out of 3 here. You know, it being a statue of Mirage, you know, he's a huge fan of himself. You know, I think he kind of thinks of himself as a superhero. He's really proud that he's in the Apex games, and it's pretty cool that he carries around a statue of himself. I think it's pretty cool that with the Mirage heirloom, Respawn proved that they're not afraid to put something that's like not a real weapon into the heirloom pool. In the animations department, it seems that from the very first heirloom to Mirage, the animations have almost been slowly improved. Like, Respawn has been putting more and more work, and they've been learning from their previous heirlooms to make the animations even better. It doesn't exactly go from Wraith's kunai to Mirage, like each heirloom is a step up, but I mean generally kind of it is. Like, just for example, the attack animations on Mirage's heirloom, they're no joke. You know, it goes from a bunch of different angles. There's like the overhead one, the side one. There's even like a jab animation, a rare pork chop animation. There's actually 2 different inspect animations. It's, you know, how Mirage holds up the statue and like little fireworks shoot out. Like I said, when it comes to the heirloom changing, I'm ranking this in the animation department and also in the looks department, because is it an animation or does it have more to do with the looks? I think it has a little bit more to do with the animations, but I'm putting it 50-50 in both of those categories for, you know, some of those people who are super technical. For this video, I'm trying to be a little bit more technical because with my ranking videos, there's a lot of people critiquing just little things. So just for those people out there, this is for you. Also, while you're sprinting with Mirage's heirloom, if you hold down the inspect button, it actually twirls around the statue, which is pretty epic. Now we move on to the looks department, and this is where it was just a little bit complicated to rank Mirage's heirloom. So on one hand, when you look at the statue, it's just gold. You know, I mean, there's not too much going on there. You know, when you compare it to something like, say, Wraith's kunai, the Octane heirloom, or Lifeine's heirloom, you know, it doesn't really stack up. But at the same time, when you look at the base of the statue, that's where it looks kind of cool. At the bottom of the statue, it says best competitor in a battle royale based on skill, but mostly on looks. Also, the teeth twinkle, and like I said, that inspect animation, it does bring a little bit of color to the heirloom. So I mean, it's really not too bland, it's just more awesome and gold. Also, something that not everybody knows about Mirage's heirloom, if you are wearing a skin that has goggles on it and you have the heirloom equipped, it'll actually take those goggles from Mirage's forehead and he will actually be wearing those goggles, which is super cool. That isn't really the looks of the heirloom, so I kept the looks at a 6 out of 10. But if I would have included like the teeth twinkle and the inspect animation and the goggles all in the looks category, this easily could have been way higher than 6. But I think I have Mirage sitting pretty cool here at the 4th best heirloom and a total of 14 out of 18 possible points. But very quickly before we get on to the next heirloom, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed to my channel. I do pretty much everything Apex Legends on this channel. If you like Apex Legends, I do think that you will enjoy my channel. So moving on to the 3rd best heirloom, at number 3 I have Octane. I feel like a lot of people would have Octane a little bit higher on their list, and I think it all comes down to that looks category. But as far as fitting goes, I have a 2 out of 3 here. Octane being the hyper person he is, I'm sure he likes butterfly knives, and also there's, you know, some stim built into that butterfly knife. But at the same time, you know, we haven't had a trailer for Octane yet, so I can't really give it a 3 out of 3 in the fitting category. It's not like in Octane's lore it talks about a butterfly knife anywhere, so I mean, it's still pretty fitting that he has this stim butterfly knife. Like 100% credit to Respawn for the creativity here. here, but it's not quite like with Bloodhound's Heirloom, like you're literally holding an axe that was like built for Bloodhound's future and gifted by Arthur. The animations for Octane, here I have a 4 out of 5. I think the butterfly knife animations, they're certainly cool, like they're just about as good as animations get in Apex, but at the same time, the animations are a little bit broke for Octane's Heirloom. Like some people do have some problems with the animations. I know people specifically have problems like when you're running with Octane's Heirloom and you click the inspect, it kind of just waves the hand up and down, like it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's almost like it glitches. I believe they did fix one animation here pretty recently. Like there's not too many problems with the Heirloom, but there certainly are some things here or there, and that's the only reason it's not 5 out of 5. I guess you could also add in that Octane's Heirloom animations, they don't quite stack up to like the rare pork chop animation, etc. for Mirages. Finally, in the looks category, I do really like the gold, the stem running through the middle of the butterfly knife. Here it gets an 8 out of 10. I guess it could be just a little bit more glowing, a little bit more goodness. I don't know how you could actually improve it, but I feel like Heirlooms, it could just get a little bit better looking, but still full credit to Respawn. This Heirloom is still looking pretty amazing, but it's just where it comes down to personal preference. I feel like other people think more highly of the looks on this Heirloom, but I just don't. So I think Octane sitting here at the 3rd best Heirloom. Some people might say he's the 2nd best. 14 out of 18 points here. There was a tiebreaker with Mirage's Heirloom, and people, it's kind of hard to explain why Octane's Heirloom is better than Mirage's. I guess I would just way rather have Octane's Heirloom. I mean, maybe because my channel's theme is Mirage, I'll get the Mirage Heirloom before I get the Octane. But I guess a knife just makes more sense to have in the Apex games versus carrying around a statue of yourself. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this video can just agree with me that just somehow Octane's Heirloom is better than Mirage's. Moving on to the 2nd best Heirloom in Apex Legends, here we have Lifeline's shock sticks. In the first category, we have a 3 out of 3 in fitting. Actually written on the sticks, it is called defib sticks. That is a defibrillator. That's what like medics use to like jumpstart people's hearts who have stopped. So that makes total sense with the combat medic. Also, we can tell from Lifeline's voice lines, it seems that she is a drummer and she literally uses these sticks to like drum on her drone. I think this Heirloom totally fits Lifeline so well. Like if I would be crossing a line during this video, which I'm not going to, I would give this like a 10 out of 3 in fitting. It's like, I think it fits Lifeline so well. In the animations department, I think Lifeline also excels here. There are so many different attack animations. It's not like with Octane's Heirloom, I forgot to mention this, it's the attack animations just aren't really that great, but with Lifeline, there's so many different attack animations, so many different combinations. Also, there's a really cool attack sound, you know, easily the coolest attack sound out of any Heirloom. Also, when you first pull out Lifeline's shock sticks, like they're retracted just to like little handles and then the ends shoot out. It looks so amazing. Also, the inspect animation, one of the sticks are retracted like with the original pullout animation. She's spinning the other and you get a great look at what Lifeline's Heirloom is. And now we move on to the looks department. I think it could either be a 7 or an 8, but because of the electricity, I think the looks are quite easily an 8. I think Lifeline's Heirlooms, they look so good. I mean, it is pink and light blue, and if you really don't like those colors, maybe the looks department is a little bit further down for you. But for me, Lifeline's Heirlooms are just, I mean, it's so close to the top. I feel like somehow Lifeline's Heirloom, it's not the flashiest. Like if you would ask someone randomly who isn't an expert on the Heirlooms, they would rank Lifeline's Heirloom pretty low. But people who have Lifeline's Heirloom, I feel like they would rank Lifeline's like number 1 or number 2. Like they think pretty highly of their Lifeline Heirloom. I'm sure there's many reasons for this, but I didn't really notice this with other Heirlooms, so I thought I'd mention that. So the total points for Lifeline's Heirloom is a 15 out of 18. And people, moving on to the number 1 Heirloom, you probably already know this. This is Wraith. Wraith's kunai is no joke. It fits Wraith so well. We saw in the Voidwalker trailer that the Voidwalker Wraith from the other dimension actually gave our Voidwalker that we play as today the kunai. So the kunai actually comes from a different dimension. Wraith got this kunai during such a pivotal moment in her life, and also it fits Wraith so well because when you hit someone, it opens up a miniature rift. The animations on Wraith's kunai, it is just so good. You just kind of like twirl it around in your hand. That's really all the animations are. Like when you first start sprinting, there's an animation. You know, when you stop, there's an animation. Also, while you're moving, you can click the inspect animation. It'll twirl it around. These animations do not take very much room up on your screen. It's a pretty minimalistic Heirloom, and I think that's what an Heirloom should be. An the Apex Legends. I feel like the Wraith Heirloom is actually not too distracting. It just complements, you know, everything that's going on during the game. And the looks on this, during the inspect animation, you get such a great look at just, you know, all the portal stuff, the miniature electricity stuff, you know, everything that makes Wraith, you know, all of the portal looks. It fits so well with the kunai. I think Respawn did such a great job with Wraith's Heirloom. Wraith's Heirloom is getting a total of 16 out of 18 points. I do really think highly of the Wraith's Heirloom, but I think aside from the Pathfinder's Heirloom, in my opinion, all of the Heirlooms are pretty close, but the Wraith Heirloom just barely comes on top. If you are not subscribed to my channel, it would mean so much to me if you hit that subscribe button below this video, because we do everything Apex Legends here, anything pressing as far as news, lore. I mean, we go over all of it here. This is your all-in-one Apex channel. Okay, maybe I'm not that great at the game, but, you know, other than that, I highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel. Like I said, it would mean a lot. And that'll be about it for me, the Alarmix, and I'll see you guys later.